What's good, YouTube? This is part number 3 of questions you should ask a man before you decide that you want to get emotionally involved, or that you catch feelings for him, or that you decide you want to be with him, or that you have a crush, or whatever. We've gone over 6 questions so far, and we're going to go over the final 4 questions in this video, so that those of you who have been asking me what type of questions you should be asking on dates, or what type of question you should be asking in conversation, what type of conversations you need to be starting in these budding relationships or in the talking phase of things, these are some of the questions. They might make you feel uncomfortable. You might not want to ask them. You might not want to feel like you're interviewing a man, but that doesn't matter. You need this information. You need to watch his genuine response, not just his verbal response, but his physical body language, his energy changes, his willingness to have these conversations, and his efforts to manipulate your idea of him based on giving perfect answers. There's a lot of information given in a man's answers to the questions that have nothing to do with the words that come from his mouth, but everything to do with discerning his intention and his ability and willingness to be genuine. So with that said, question number 7 in this series of what you want to ask a man you're dating is, how does it look when you really care for a woman? How do you act and behave? Again, how does it look when you really care for a woman? How do you act and behave? He should have real world experience with women. He should be able to go back into his mind and think about things he's done for girls he really cared about. If he hasn't cared for a woman, if he hasn't loved a woman, it's probably going to be a tough question for him to answer. He'll probably start creating instead of recalling, right? And there are body language cues of guilt and lying and things of that nature, watching his eye movement and things of that nature. But we're not talking about physical body language of deception here. Google that if you want to apply that to one of these conversations. Even so, if he doesn't have real world experience, caring about a woman is going to show, because he's going to have to create. He's going to have to imagine. But if he does have real world experience, then he'll remember some of the things that he's done, and it'll assist him in answering this question, right? Again, you're observing the body language, the willingness, the vulnerability here, his genuine response, not just the words that come from his mouth. We actually don't care very much about them unless they're in congruency with everything else he does and everything he does after this conversation. So you're taking mental notes. And if you're on FaceTime or on the phone, you're taking actual notes on a notebook paper. But you want to gather this information. It gives you some things to check what he's doing and how he's treating you against. The answer that you get to this question should give you an idea of what you should expect. And for clarity, you say, so in the event that you decide that you like me, this is what I should get. This is what I should expect. This is what I should look for. This is what will tell me how you feel. This is why I should just know, right? Challenge him on a little bit of it, but give him an opportunity to tell you what he looks like at his best. Again, he may or may not bullshit the question, but that is not the point here. The point is to give you more information and more things to observe so that you can discern whether or not he's right for you. With that said, question number 8. Men love this question. Men adore this question, right? This is a fun question. This gives them an opportunity to kind of tell you how to be with them. It gives them an opportunity to tell you what they want in a relationship. And a lot of times a person's intention can be clearly observed, what they expect from a person, from what they want, from what they desire from women or relationships in general. And that question is, how does the perfect woman treat you? Again, how does the perfect woman treat you? We know perfect doesn't exist. We know no one's perfect. So he's probably going to say that, but then he's going to get into the things that he would hope to expect from a woman. He would hope to receive from a woman, right? We want to know what he wants. We want to know what he expects and what he hopes to receive, because we need to know, first of all, how close he is, how far, how up or down he is on the red pill spectrum, right? We need to figure out how committed he is to his ideas of gender roles, to his idea of personal responsibility, to his idea of what a woman is supposed to do to him and for him. Right? So we're asking this question, how does the perfect woman treat you? Because we need to see what his expectations are or what he believes he deserves. The answers to this question can be very revealing about how far this man thinks a woman should go to impress him and keep him happy. Most of the time, men don't necessarily know how to lie about this, because we're giving them an opportunity to express themselves and train you up on how to deal with them. So a lot of times a guy will give you the full list of things that he thinks he should deserve from a woman. Observe it, discern it, what's appropriate, what's not appropriate, what's too much. You want to know this because maybe you don't do all those things. Maybe you're not into that type of stuff. Maybe that's not your structure your preferred structure of a relationship. Maybe you don't believe in those gender roles. Whatever he believes in that moment, don't question it. Give him space to really express himself in a genuine way. So don't show disagreement, don't show anger, don't show disgust. Just invite him to continue telling. Get this man talking and get this man to feel comfortable telling you about what he thinks a woman is supposed to be doing for him. A lot of times women will hear something and they want to disagree. They want to, don't do any of that. He's being genuine here. Most of the time when you ask a person about what they like, they'll tell you what they love. They'll tell you what they're passionate about, and they'll get so far into it that they'll forget they're being observed because they just want to talk about the thing that they like. They're just imagining, right? He's fantasizing and talking about this perfect person, this perfect woman who does all of these different things. So in this moment, don't have a response that can be observed, especially a negative one. Just let him talk. Look enamored with everything he says. Look pleased with everything he says. Nod your head. Give him eye contact, engage, and let him reveal himself to you. Very rarely does a person lie about the things they like. They mostly just lie about the things they don't like, out of fear of scaring you away before they get what they want. But when you ask a man what he likes, he's going to tell you most of the time. So again, observe and discern. And it's fine if a man is super old school or he has standards that don't match yours or you think they're too classic. That doesn't mean he's a bad person, but he's definitely probably bad for you if they don't fit what you believe your role or your duty should be in a relationship. Now, after he talks at length about what he wants from a woman and what he thinks she should do and how he thinks she should act, ask him this. Question number 10 or 9, I can't even remember at this point. How do you treat the perfect woman? Again, how do you treat the perfect woman? You're asking him this because you just saw him get very comfortable talking about what he wants from a woman, what he expects from a woman, what a woman's role is, what a woman's place is, all of these different things that benefit him. So you've seen his passion for what he's supposed to receive. Now you get to see his passion or lack thereof for what he expects to give, right? Now this woman is already perfect. We've already given her the prerequisite of being everything he wants, right? No perfect person exists, but if all things were as good as they could possibly be, how does this woman treat him? Now, let's see how he treats this woman when she gives him everything. Again, expect him to BS. At this point, we're not looking for what he says he's going to do for that woman. We're not even receiving that information. We don't care about what he says he's going to do. What we care about is his awareness of balance in a relationship. What we care about is his idea and thought process around what a man's responsibility to a relationship is. What we care about is his acknowledgement of some of the values that we may hold of a man's true duty in a relationship and in a family. We don't necessarily care about the particulars here because he might be embellishing. What we're trying to observe is the passion that he applies to talking about what he wants to provide a healthy relationship. Now, some men have no passion. Some men will grow irritated. Some men don't want to answer the question. Some men will just tell you a bunch of great things because they're trying to impress you. Some men will try to manipulate you with the answer to this question and get your head swole up with all these ideas about how great they want to treat a woman. Some men will start to imagine because they don't have any reference point for treating anyone well. And so they'll start to invent and create instead of recall. And again, if you're interested in whether or not a person is creating and inventing instead of recalling, look up the body language of deception. You can go over all the body language signals. So when you're having these conversations, you can kind of decipher whether or not a man is recalling or creating. Okay? Look at the body language. That's something that you can study on your own time. I'm not a body language expert, but it is true. It is real. And those are signs and cues that people don't normally have control over. These are difficult conversations sometimes. Sometimes these are very fun conversations if a man is genuine and open and vulnerable to the moment. Other times these are very difficult conversations and it feels like pulling teeth. Sometimes men are resistant. Sometimes men are insulted at the fact that you might be interviewing them or asking them these hard questions. This is all good information. Again, a man's resistance to answer questions means he's probably not serious, or he's probably a shit poor communicator who probably wouldn't show up very well communication-wise in a relationship, which is still good information. There's so much information to be pulled from this conversation as a whole, besides what beautiful things a man says or what stupid things a man says. And last but not least, a bonus question, or question number 10. I've lost count at this point, but this is the last video in this series. Last question you can ask a guy, the bonus question is, if he has pursued you, if he has come on strong to you, if he has been the aggressor, ask him, since you have been pursuing me, or since you have pursued me and gotten me here, asked me out, asked for my number, however he started this, since you have pursued me, what specifically do you want from me? If everything went perfectly and everything went the way that you wanted it to, what specifically do you hope to achieve in talking to me? This is a very valuable question, because if a man has intentions to be with you, if a man has an intention to get close to you, if a man has an intention to bang you and leave you alone, if a man has an intention to entertain himself with you without really connecting, this is his opportunity to let you know what he stands for. Ambiguity means I just wanted to hit it. The avoidance of the question totally means I just wanted to hit it. An argument about what pursuing means probably means I just wanted to hit it. And it means he's more focused on the leverage of that question and admitting that he's pursuing you than he is the question at hand and the issue at hand, right? So now he's playing power games. It's probably going to bullshit you. He just wants to hit it. If a man is incapable of answering this question from a very genuine place, if he can't be genuine about what he actually wants, if this is a question that irritates him, if it puts him off, if he refuses to answer, the likelihood is you're just this evening's or this month's or this year's entertainment. When a man looks at a woman and says, man, I gotta have her, he either wants to be her man or he wants to be her lover. This question can reveal which of those he wants based on his willingness to have this conversation and have this exchange. Take what he says with a grain of salt. Always compare what a man says and what a man does. But if a man's refusing to have the conversation, he needs to be immediately ejected. He needs to be immediately eliminated. All of these are really great conversation starters or great things to talk about in conversation that lead to deep conversation and can ultimately reveal intent. They're also great ways to bond and just learn how to be more vulnerable in asking questions and answering questions. Builds your confidence to speak for yourself, asking these questions, not being afraid of what happens, whether or not the answer is something you like, don't like, or the answer is refused. Start every relationship on a good foot. Understand that every man isn't a bad man, but he might be terrible for you. And that's what you're trying to discern with these questions. Follow me at KenFig24 on Instagram. If you need coaching, go to girltalkwithguys.com to receive coaching. I'll get with y'all later.